Hello, everybody, and welcome to this mini crash course on credit and credit card savings, which I believe is a very important topic to talk about because in the upcoming years, you guys will be actually having your own credit cards, but not a lot of people know how or what credit is and how much responsibility you need to have in order to have a credit card. So let's just jump right in and get started. So by the end of the lesson, you will understand what credit and credit cards are, understand your responsibilities when using credit, big one, understand how to compare credit cards, and understand how to read your credit card statement. So for starters, what is credit? Everybody talks about credit. You need to pay off your credit. You have credit. But what is it? Credit refers to a person's capacity to repay borrowed money. So basically, it is money borrowed from the bank that you use, and it is often referred to as an agreement in which the person who borrowed money needs to repay it, often with interest if not paid back at a certain time. So, what do you need credit for? So, getting a credit card, buying/leasing a car, and buying a home, and many other things. These are just three examples. So, calculating interest, I am just going to move myself over just so everybody could see the slides. So, credit card interest is calculated based on your average daily balance. So, credit card companies take your APR and divide it by 365 days to get a daily interest rate. So, credit card interests are compounded daily, not weekly, not monthly, and not annually. This is daily. So, an example would be your billing cycle. So, it would be from June 1st to June 30th. Your APR is 19%. You owe $5,000. So you decide not to use it until you could pay it off, which a lot of people do, but some people also just like to pay their interest off. So step one, calculate your average daily balance. So you would add up the balance for each day and divide by the number of days in the billing cycle. Because you have not used your credit card, your daily average balance is $5,000. So it would be 5,000 times the 30 days in the month would be $150,000. So 150,000 divided by 30 days equals 5,000. So step two, calculating your daily interest rate. So you would have to divide your APR by 365 days. So it would be 19% divided by 365, which equals 0.052%. So in the brackets, it just shows you 0.19 divided by 365 equals 0.00052, which is not a big percentage, which credit cards normally do that. So step three, interest is compounded daily. So day one, you would do the 0.00052 times 5,000 would be 260. And then you would just, after every day, so that 260, you would add it on to the $5,000. So it would be on day two, it would be the same APR divided by $5,002.60, and you would just keep adding it on. And each day you'll pay more and more interest because it is compounded, which means it always gets added on, which is why a lot of people say it is good to pay your credit right at that second, just so interest doesn't get calculated and you don't lose money or you don't owe the bank more money. So remember, this is a big, big, big reminder. You pay interest on interest. Avoid this by paying your statement balance in full before the due date, which is what I just mentioned. So responsibilities, let me just move myself again. Sorry about that. Borrow only what you can repay. So let's say you have $8,000. And you want something that is $2,000, but you only have $1,000. Try holding off on that because if you cannot pay those extra $1,000, it's just your interest is just going to keep adding it up and you're just going to be in bigger debt than before. Read and understand your contract and pay debts promptly, which means pay them as soon as possible. If you have that money, do not wait for the due date, pay it off. So imagine you have a $1,000 credit card and you have a 19% interest rate. If it is maxed out and you only pay for your minimum payment, which tends to be really low, so I would say like $10, you will pay an extra $190 on top of what you owe. So notify the creditor if you can't meet the payments. Report lost/stolen credit cards as soon as possible. Never give your credit card number over the phone unless you initiated the call or are certain about the person's identity. Because once a person steals your credit, they can spend it on whatever they want and you may not have that much money, and then the problem is in your hands. Although forget that little change this section. That was just a mistake that wouldn't come out of the slide. That is exactly what's going on. So costs of credit cards. So there is an annual fee, so a yearly charge, an annual percentage rate, so an APR. So the cost of credit expressed as a yearly rate, so your interest rate. There is a finance charge, so the dollar amount paid to use credit, including interest and all charges on the transaction. The grace period is the number of days you have before a credit card company starts charging interest and transaction fees, which some credit card companies charge a fee for a cash advance, late payment, or going over your limit. So comparing credit cards. So this is what you want to look at. So comparing each credit card, you want to look at the annual fees, the grace periods, the APR, your credit limit, because a lot of credit cards, have different types. Minimum monthly payments, finance charge calculation method, late payment fees, and other features. So, for example, cashback, rewards. On my own credit card, personally, I do have a small minimum monthly payment, even though I do not pay it. I like to pay it in full because I do not want that interest, as well as my credit card allows me for cashback so I could use on another credit card payment. So there is advantages and disadvantages, pros and cons for each credit card. Again, it is personally your choice. You choose whichever one you feel is more comfortable, you like better, which has the best options for your lifestyle. So, understanding a credit card statement, I'm just going to move myself again. So, what information do you see on the credit card statement? So, you see a date, an APR, a balance, your total credit, available credit, as well as transactions. So this activity, which is our last step, it is just to make sure you have understood all of the concepts that I have spoken about in today's little crash course. We have 2 activities, which is comparing credit cards and reading a credit card statement. And I hope you enjoyed and actually learned a lot about credit and credit cards, because this is an extremely important topic that deals with your future. And my tip to all of you would be start getting credit as soon as possible, because once you have good credit, which means paying your credit card on time, not having any problems with the banks, that assures you that it's just going to be easier to your future, to buy a house, to buy a card, because a lot of people with bad credit cannot own a house or even own a credit card, let's just say. So, yeah, I hope everybody enjoyed it, and yeah, have a wonderful day.